every cell in your body. So yeah, really fascinating time to understand health, and such an amazing time for anyone that is in the field of helping people improve health, and especially improving their mitochondrial health and their metabolic health. So it's such an important thing right now, and the more research and the more that I read into looking at how the body functions and how to best overcome this situation, it's really just about getting the masses healthy, so that way they can either be resistant to getting COVID-19, or if they get it, to get over it quickly and it not being an issue. But like I was talking about yesterday, the main issues that people are having, or the main risk factors, are when someone has high blood pressure, has elevated glucose, insulin, leptin, just from consumption of both processed carbohydrates and seed and vegetable oils, which is what people are consuming now as comfort food. Then it's also if you've got central adiposity, so you've got visceral fat around the organs, another indicator. Got elevated triglycerides, got low HDL. These are all the big things that are predominant in those that have poor metabolic health. And these are the things that are showing that, especially that insulin resistance that occurs, that increases the amount of ACE2 receptors that allows for the COVID-19 virus to get into the body and do more harm. For most people with that healthy immune function, good morning, hey Matt, then it's not going to get past, the eyes, the nasal airway, and the mouth, and the mucous membranes there. It won't get into the lungs. It won't go further. Hey Jake. So it's so important to just get that immunity up through being healthy, as well as reduce those risk factors and just improve your metabolic health. So I got into the calves, got into the perineals, got into the hamstrings, getting into my glutes now. I just did my Thursday session, which is very quick. Just before I do this, I just do 4 sets of squats, barbell squats, and then 4 sets of straight leg deadlifts. So that's my kind of leg training for the week, other than what I'm doing in these sessions, just to maintain that and just keep my training really simple outside of these live sessions. So it works quite well. Just did that in about, I think, 16 minute workout before I get into this. So after you got into glutes, it's good to get into that lower back, open that up, find where you're tight there. Just get this as a daily routine, get to know your body, work through it. Doesn't need to take long. We're doing 5 minutes in these sessions. Obviously, if you've got more time, you want to work deeper into your tissues, get into that. Use the breath. But the more you learn about this whole thing, and if you take your time, it just looks like age is even not as big a risk factor as, even though it's older people dying, being more affected. It's because older people have more of this metabolic derangement and have poorer health metabolically as they get older. But you could be a 70 plus, even an 80 plus year old person with a high level of metabolic health and be at a lower risk than someone who's been consuming vegetable oils and processed carbohydrates and got central adiposity and then got high triglycerides, got low HDL, insulin resistant, leptin resistant, and got all these other factors. And you could be old and be fine and have more resilience. So, but unfortunately, as people get older, they tend to eat more foods of convenience and they're less active. So those risk factors increase from age, not just because they're old. Just going to get into the forearms just a little bit. Nose out. From all the tower pull-ups and the tower grip. working a bit harder. Today you got the muscle ups, so I want to prep for that. The towel grip isn't as ideal as a set of rings, so if you've got rings, definitely use them. Jake and Matt will be. But towel works pretty well. Keeps the tissues healthy in that pattern, and it can even help you develop it if you haven't got a muscle up already. Just getting into that movement. So going into the adductors with the roller. Remember, if you don't have a roller, just use a water bottle. You can wrap a towel around it, get from the groin to the knee, open that up. Find where you're tight, get right in here. Use the breath. Big breath in, breathe out. Relax. So I put the links to the different articles and research papers that I've been reading in yesterday's video, just underneath it. When it initially goes up, they're not there because it just does an automated one each day, but then I update it later each day with the more relevant links and research. So it is good to familiarise yourself with it, and this is a big thing going forward. It's just with the stats that we've got for how many people, 40% of Americans are obese. And when this news first came out talking about, young people are getting it, young healthy people are getting it, if you look at all the young so-called healthy people that were getting, they were obese, and they had all these metabolic risk factors. I still haven't seen anyone or any data on anyone that's died from it with complications that have truly been healthy from my perspective, that didn't have some type of metabolic condition. Even there was one guy who was a bodybuilder, really lean guy, but bodybuilders are some of the most unhealthy people on the planet. I know from my own experience with it, when I was trying to get to 100 kilos and just eating as much as I could, it wasn't healthy, and it's probably the most unhealthy thing I've done in my life, because even that, a classic characteristic of someone who is metabolically unhealthy is they get the skin tags. And from that period of doing bodybuilding, I've got one here and another one here, which usually come around here, or the groin, in the folds in the body, and you'll see that discoloration in people that are overweight, and they have that pitting edema. So when you push on their lower limbs, it won't just go away. They'll have that kind of swollen look around there. I didn't get any of that, but I did get a couple of skin tags that I never had before, and that was because I don't know, how old was I, 31? So 11, 12, or late 20s when I was doing it. But I used to do, even back then there's videos online, but I was doing 5 to 6 days of keto, way before keto was popular, and then doing 1 to 2 days of heavy carb loading, and that was to get that insulin response. There was a guy called Mauro Di Pasquale who was promoting what's called an anabolic diet that I was into back then, which is just a carb reloading once a week with a low carb ketogenic diet in between, so you kind of get that phase shift. Pretty cool stuff. So iron those out, get into the lats. 1 more minute. Let's breathe into those. But yeah, the bodybuilder that was so-called healthy that got it, had to go on a respirator or whatever, wasn't healthy, in my opinion. Most of them are way overeating, let alone having other drugs that they have to build mass and adapt to the stimulus of the training. Just finding where you tighten there to get that better overhead position. So, it's an awkward situation, or it's hard to say, but if you look at, if someone's very healthy and you don't have someone who's high risk around you, I just can't see the negatives in getting it and getting over it, unless you do have someone who is either diabetic or has a metabolic derangements, doesn't have good metabolic health, elderly, that is high risk around you and you're in contact with, then obviously it's not a good idea to get it, to share it with them. But if you could get it and get over it quickly, get the antibodies to it and get back to work and rebuild the economy, this herd immunity is looking like the best thing. I'd much rather personally get it than have the vaccine for it, which is looking like, from what I understand anyway, the vaccine's going to be quite aggressive and a lot of potential side effects just because of how it interacts with the body. So that's my own personal opinion. Don't know, it's still a long way away, but getting worldwide vaccination for this and making it mandatory is pretty scary stuff. And I'm guessing that's what they're shooting for. So coming into those adductors, opening that up is quite controversial, but I'd much rather have my own immunity from having it, lifelong natural immunity, than have something I have to have a booster every year, keep taking every year. And also, that just depends on how the laws come through. You know, you might not be able to get onto an aeroplane without it. And then even if you've had it and you've got your own natural immunity, you're still going to have the vaccine. Who knows how this thing pans out? There's so much fear out there that it's being used to take advantage. So open those hips up. Actually, I'll do it with these guys. So working through there, just take your time with it. Never rush these. Make sure it feels good. Touching out. But yeah, if you've got any thoughts, ideas about the situation, definitely write it in the comments. I'm always curious and open to anyone's opinions. I'm always trying to learn more and understand how I can have a better perspective on life and stay open to all sides. You know, like it's funny, people just get so polarized in situations like this, and they get so attached to one side that they can't stay open to what the other side is saying. And you're seeing that play out in a big way, whereas it's so much easier just to say, okay, this is what I think now, and maybe tomorrow I'll change my mind. It's not to be a hypocrite, it's just to stay open to relevant information and have a continuous path searching for the truth. And it's so much less stressful than trying to hold on to an idea that is not necessarily true just because you want to be stubborn and hold on to it, which is the reason for so many people's frustration in life. You know, this whole carnivore thing is an example. Like, I don't want to just eat meat. I enjoy it, but and it's working for me. But it doesn't mean that it's the best way for everyone to eat at all. You know, and ideally, if I'm improving my health as much as possible, I should be able to tolerate all different foods and enjoy them to a certain extent. Some things are just always going to be problematic, like vegetable oils and processed grains. I can't see how that'd be good for anyone. But if you prepare all the traditional foods and plants in a way that respects the body, and you've got a good level of health, and you can buffer the side effects. That's a big thing with plants, is that there's pros and cons, whereas meat is just much more bioavailable. But if evidence comes up to the contrary, I'm willing to look at it. Stay open. Much easier journey in life than being polarized and always arguing with everyone. You can't hear anyone when you always think you're right or that your perspective's correct. You're not really open or listening, and you miss out on learning new stuff. Not to say that you should be just soft and not have an opinion at all, but it's just finding that nice balance. Much easier mentally. Stretch. Open up that lower back. So it's a really good idea to get this routine down so it's just natural for you. So you can just go through, get a good feel for the body. And in my last set of deadlifts, the locked knee, I could feel my knee a little bit. Squats felt pretty cruisy, pretty good. So just be aware of that in my training today. I feel my wrists the other day and a little bit when I first woke up. So I'll be mindful of that today. Hit those hamstrings. They feel pretty good. Traction out. Remember, you just want to work with them wherever they're at. If you're struggling with tight hamstrings, just go easy on it. So we'll get the timer going. Start it. Hit that. If you're already into it, you can start your shoulder warm-ups. 57. So it starts with 3. Get these guys going. So really try and feel those muscles around the shoulder joint turning on, activating. Go to the front. If you go faster with it, a bit more aggressive, you'll feel better activation. Keep the rib cage stable. Some big circles. There's 2 beeps on these. If you've got the band set up at home for doing all these warm-ups, even better doing the pulling and the pushing. There are videos of me doing that on Instagram if you go back. A pretty cheap, simple, effective tool to use. Going with this case. So you can use a shirt, towel, whatever you've got for this. It's nice and smooth. I'm just using a band. Don't need one of these. You can use a broom handle. Just trying to find that range. It feels good. Work with your body. Do some reverse grip ones. Those. Shrug the shoulders right up. And we'll go prone. So prone is face down. Get that one. Get that nice scapular retraction. And hit that nice straight body line. Here, try and keep the ribs in and then lift off to hit that handstand line. Going to hit some handstands for our grounder overhead workout today. I'll just do one of these before I do the hip drives. To turn that on. Then we've just got the glute activators. A couple of those going. Fire those glutes up for those explosive squat jumps that we're going to do instead of Olympic lifts. Nice. Some toe taps. So hitting those. Those different directions, get those glutes warmed up. Nice. Reaching out, hit those different angles. Do some slow, fast squats, feeling warm. If not, just keep it slow and controlled. Go into our deep traction stretching. So using that towel, that door anchor, stretch it out. If you're not sure how to set it up, it's a video at the beginning I put it on, but you can go back through some of the other videos, but just got the T-towel with a knot in it. Make sure it's secure. Tractioning that out and get into the lats and the hamstrings. This works really well. Tractioning that spine. Go to the other side, hit that back lever stretch after all those back levers yesterday. Open that out and those dips. It's nice to stretch that out. Big breath in. And just go into that forward fold. Stretch out, round out that back. Remember, don't force any of these, make sure they feel good. And we'll warm up this position for the reverse muscle up today. It's cool. So just take a breather, have a sip if you need it, and we'll go into the Next part coming up will be handstand split warm up. Make sure you get your water and your electrolytes every day. Stay hydrated. So going into a full dead hang now, holding up a little bit higher, and I'm just going to take my feet off in this one. Traction out my spine, get my butt down, move my knees apart to get my hips a bit more open so I can lengthen my spine a bit more. Use the breath. If you need to put the feet down, keep them down. Work with your body. We're going into our first handstand warm-up, plank to pike. So you want to protract the scaps, walk the toe tips in, keep walking up. Press, press, press. Swap it out, push the ground away. Going to our side split warm up. So just hit 3 reps a side, breathing in, coming down, open those hips up. If you've got more range, you can use it. Just work with your body. 1, 2, 3. I want all these to feel good. Open up the tissues, prep for the workout. Just get to know your body, improve it every day. If you want to get the side splits, you've got to use that range every day and just make it part of how you move on a day-to-day basis. And that'll really make it more natural for you. Nice. Get into the hang strikes. Traction out, so either feet off or feet on the ground. Just do what feels good. Feel that nice dead hang. Activate those scaps, pull them right down. Let them come right up overhead in that elevated position. Try and feel that full range of motion. Nice, and we'll do the reverse. So we're going to walk the hands back to the feet. So walk the hands as you walk back, you're pushing overhead, activating those scaps, all the serratus anterior, the traps, activating all the muscles that control the shoulder blades. I'm just walking someone out of shot, or maybe I am anyway. Press right up, push, push, push. Walk it out. Then we'll go into hip flexor, hamstring. So big breath in, open those hips up, tuck that bottom under. Then you can breathe out, focus on a nice hamstring stretch there. You can round out, come right down if you like. You can do the rotational ones, breathing in, breathing out. On the other side, breathing in. Right leg forward, big breath in, tuck that butt under, breathe out, big breath in, out, other side, big breath in, it's cool, going into hollow arch. Towel or your rings, nice and smooth. Feel that nice hollow position. Traction out, big breath in, squeeze those shoulder blades down and back. Exhale, come down, traction them out. Inhale, open up. Keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth, jaw closed when you take the hip back, stabilize the neck. Down dog to up dog, so hit that nice down dog position. And you're going to breathe in, hollow forward, into that nice arch. Exhale, press it back. Inhale, exhale. Awesome work, guys. Hit those pancakes. So you're going to start with the feet together. Hollow down, arch up, reach up overhead, arch down, hollow up. Hit one more rep. Nice flow. We're going into the hang split. So a simple one, you can just keep your feet in the tuck, take one leg up, activate that, otherwise you can have the second one straight. Get that nice contraction there. Now we'll go into a first kind of handstand. You might want to do it more just a down dog, single leg, same shape, same conditioning that lockout, condition that shrug, condition the line, that hamstring stretch for your kick up. So that's a great one for people to work on. If you don't have that, it's going to be much harder to get up on the wall. If you've got the wall one, get into that. If you've got the kick up one, get into that. Just do the level that's right for you. And we're going to go into the single leg bend. So use the breath, control, hinge forward in the hip, draw that quad up, squeeze that glute on that leg that's up in the air, coming up, side, nice control, good body awareness, focus on one spot, draw that quad up. Nice, guys. So that's our hang handstand split warm up done. Now we're going to get into our handstands, go through to get about 4 minutes of work. So let's have a look at a nice lat stretch. Traction that out, pull the ribs in. This one works really well to get that nice overhead position. And you want to focus on getting that so you're not in an arch in the back like that. You're pulling the ribs in, getting that nice stretch through the lats overhead. Then I'll go into just the wall handstand. This one's quite nice, just taking 1 foot up, get that nice position, and then you can even just keep the foot on the wall like that and just work on getting that line from the wrist to the foot. It's not vertical, but it's a straight line. And if you've got that down, then you can come out, work on getting that stack, getting that split, hitting your balance, coming down. And we'll go into a nice stretch. This is the other one I like. Palms facing up. Stretch those lats out. Have the knees a bit apart if you want to get your body down more, hips into it. You're pulling those ribs in. So really trying to open up those lats. The more you can do this, the easier this position is. The nicer that overhead position is going to be. So I'll hit the other leg here. You've got your kick ups down, you've got your freestanding down, by all means get into them. You just want to feel light in it, you want to feel aligned, you want to work on pressing up, locking your elbows, feeling that control. Should never be risky. It should always feel like what you're working on is a natural progression of what you've got down. It shouldn't be that you feel this kind of big jump to something. You know, it's nice when you're younger, you get a bit of a rush from it. But if you're doing that, why risk it when you can just do the right progression for you? Get stronger, low risk, and train every day. It's much more practical. So just get one more handstand. in. Get a nice kick up, nice and controlled. In that position, shrug up. It's good to be able to hold that nice split position. It's an easier position to balance. And feeling that line, feeling that control. It's all a process, and definitely one that's worthwhile. So we're going to get into our muscle ups. So a couple of options. The easy option for today. Now this is a high skill-based movement. So in the training, I always teach muscle ups as one movement, and then in a 4-beep round, 30 seconds, every 2 minutes, just doing 3 muscle ups. And then for the other 3 beeps, it's stretching, mobility, hip mobility. So if you want a bit more of a workout, you might do the muscle up, rest 30, and then do some air squats. We'll pre-fatigue you a little bit for the next workout, but it will make it a bit more dynamic. The other option is to go to yesterday's program, if you missed that, or one of the other days in the week. But Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are a lot more skill-based. So your basic muscle up is to come up here. Now you're not falling against the wall, you're actually back from the wall, so you're active. And then you come down into that dip, and then pull, push, like that. So I'm working that back, so my feet can be closer, but my upper body's away. So there's a slight lean there, and that really works that posterior chain in that position. So there's that version, 3 reps, which is quite nice. And then this month's version was the reverse one, the more advanced one. So that deep position, and then you're controlling coming down. Pull. Now if that's too heavy, you just put more weight into the feet, bend the knees, pull yourself up, and then press. Here again, to stay active through the chest, I'm not just standing up like this, I'm leaning slightly forward, like that. And that will just activate more tissues through the body as opposed to just staying vertical. So I'm trying to press, and then I'm controlling. So you have to kind of make it hard for yourself. It's easy to put more weight into the feet, like that. So see how I'm kind of leaning over it. In between, I'm just going to move the wrists, stretch them out. I like doing that obviously when you're using a proper false grip, you need that more. And that's a limitation for a lot of people. And doing those wrist wraps, I think I did yesterday and the day before, just to open up those wrists with the voodoo straps are really cool. But yeah, by all means, if you want to, get some air squats in and just make this a more dynamic workout. So let's get into these. Go on this next beat. I'm just going to do 2 sets of the more basic one and 2 sets of the more heavier one. So coming up, get that nice back activation. Now if you've got rings, by all means use a false grip. If you've got full hanging rings, even better. You don't have to work around it. So I keep my hips forward but my shoulders back. There, so I'm really working. If I do 2 sets of each, this is more posterior chain, more the triceps and the posterior delt. And then when I do the other side, it's going to be more chest, bicep, and the front of the shoulders. That's nice. So it'll feel that whole line down the back, which is quite nice. That was the picture that I put up for today, yesterday. Stretch those out. You just want to work with the body, listen to it, make it feel good on the day. So I usually train heavier with the upper body Monday and Friday. And I do that before just my pull-ups, overhead press, ring dips, and rows and ring dips. And then I do some bodyweight rows and push-ups on the Monday, and the Friday I don't bother because I end up doing that in the workout with the live workout. I also do the dips on the Wednesday with the chairs, but I like the feeling of the ring dips and go a bit heavier with that on the other day. So let's get another round, so I'll do this one. So you can see in this version, I'm leaning forward, my feet are behind. So that's active there. So I'm really working through there, controlling it, coming down. Just felt that door anchor move a little bit. Gotta keep me, if it falls out, I gotta get my hands down quick enough. It's fine. Just slid away from the hinge a little bit. It's nice. Obviously, if you can get in your rings and you're going under more, and you've got more of your upper body weight in it, that's going to be a lot heavier, which is quite a cool version. Some light stretching. You can always use these. So if you get a chance to read through some of those links from yesterday, and then I'll put more up today, just to understand this situation, just to alleviate the fear that a lot of people have, and just to be calm about it, because if you're healthy, then there's no issue. If you're unhealthy metabolically, then it's just, it's time to work on it. It's good for you anyway, so why not? Just cut all the processed packaged garbage and get to bed on time and look after yourself. Why not? You'll enjoy your life more anyway, and you'll make yourself more resilient to this pandemic. And we've got, who knows for sure, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to see more of these things come up. And we'll see more craziness come up, and it might be worse, might not be as bad. But there'll always be people trying to take advantage of other people, like they are in this situation, which is what my it's not a conspiracy, it's just money and power, and just more of the same. People posing as philanthropists when they've got their own agendas, and maybe in their own mind they think they are genuinely being like that. Who knows? They're doing the right thing for everyone. But everyone should be free to choose. That's the whole point of having this life. So that's why I don't like anyone following what I say. They just, think about it and see whether it's right for you. Integrate it if it's right. All right, let's get into this next workout. If you want to do one more round of those, get into it, and I'll just do this one. So it's pretty basic. The leg part, so if you've got a clean or a snatch, you're pulling the weight from the floor. So you're getting that pull, whether it's a clean or a snatch, and then you're getting that explosive lift there. And instead of going off the ground, you pull on the bar, pull yourself under. Now for this one, we're just going to jump instead. So I'm just leaving the ground. And then what we can do with it to get the catch phase for the legs is that you're going to jump and hit that nice solid position. Now depending on where you feel good, so you might feel good there in a wider squat, or you might feel good a little bit closer, but you're going to get a nice pause there. So that's the first part. The second part is just working on that overhead position. So in the snatch, it's a wider grip. In the jerk, it's a bit closer depending on people's flexibility. So you're just working your handstand variation. So you may be still just doing down dogs. So that might be your catch. Just working on that, trying to get that alignment, stack that. You may be just with 1 foot on the, 2 feet on the door, 1 foot on the door. You might do kick-ups like this, make it a bit more dynamic. Get that catch, come out, just get a couple each side. Or the other one I'm going to do today is just a jump tuck into it. So that's going to stimulate that double arm catch and keep my hips square going into it. So I'm just there and just going to jump up and try and catch that overhead position. And come back down, just 3 reps of those. So choose the version that's right for you. By all means, if you've got a weight and you want to do those single arm snatches, if it's a kettlebell, dumbbell, if you've got a barbell, double arm, or 2 kettlebells, 2 dumbbells, you want to do double arm, just hitting that. So just going to go for this vertical jump, get 3 clean reps out. get as high as you can, really try and open those hips, hit a nice position in the bottom, get nice and explosive when you come up. Hitting that, a bit of a rest, breathe, and then have a rest after that one. I'm going to hit the 30-second mark after the rest, so just breathing into that. So you want to keep these workouts sharp when you're doing them, because if you do high reps, I mean, you could make the workout, we do it here where people do ground overhead with really high reps. I'll do 30 seconds, constant reps, 30-second rest, 30 seconds, constant reps, and that's what the response are after. But if you're trying to get more power, more explosive, then you need these longer rest periods to get that next set performance. So 3 reps and a 2-minute rest between the legs, and then 3 reps and then 2-minute rest between the upper body. So here I'm going to jump up, hit that catch, and come down. 30-second rest. So they're quite cool, not ideal. I struggle with the shape in the tuck jump to really get rid of that arch. It is a harder, the tuck handstand. I'll show you on the next set, I'll bring it out here a bit more to really get that nice hollow body overhead position in the tuck. Nasty, but definitely if you can get that, your straight line handstand improves so much more. Mine kind of looks okay if I get the right angle, but it still needs more work. There's always more work to be done. Those. So ideally for power movements or any type of training, you want to make them more measurable. That's a little bit hard to make it measurable because I don't know. I mean, I could look back at the recording of this and I could map out how high I'm going. You could have something that you're touching, so that way you know you're actually getting that next set performance and you're hitting that reps to make it more measurable so you can improve it. And that's why with Olympic lifting it's great in that way, because you've got the weight, the reps, the sets, the rest, all those things to make it more effective. So let's hit those handstands, whichever version you're working on. Breathe into the rest, relax the body, shake out that tension, get ready for the next round, nice and explosive on those jumps, or if you are doing Olympic lifts, hitting those. So usually, like if you're doing heavier stuff, you just do the one lift, obviously, because it's hitting the whole body in a snatch or a clean and a jerk. So 1 to 3 reps and then have that longer rest period. Because you're not going to be able to lift heavier or get more explosive if you rest too short. With the jumps, I like starting with the arms overhead, so it hits that position, and I know where I'm aiming for with the arms to really get them so I don't arch on the takeoff. Hit that nice catch. Breathe into that. It's good fun training. It's so good to be able to move in your body and feel good and just enjoy it every day. That's why it's so important to just be mindful. So for me, even like I just hold back a lot now because it's so easy just to go that little bit too far because you get warmed up, you feel good, push it that little bit too far and then it detracts from your workouts in the next couple of days. So it's always better to leave a little bit in the tank. So here. So you just want to feel those shoulders open up, whichever handstand you're doing, and make sure that you're working on that alignment, and just don't beat yourself up about it if it's not perfect. I've got heaps of work to do on mine, and I've been doing this a long time. I actually thought mine was pretty good up until probably I think 3 years ago, and then I realized how tight I was through the lats and how poor my shoulder mobility and strength was at that end range. From my own perspective, it's everyone's life. You always see everything through your own lenses. You don't want to have ignorance and bliss, but at the same time, you don't need to be too critical. Just love yourself. Work with what you've got. Last one of those. One more set of handstands. Sing out if you've got any feedback and you've got any recommendations, ideas, thoughts. Just want to try and get as many people metabolically healthy as possible. And it's a huge opportunity now for anybody that's looking for a career as a health coach. The world is in massive need. 40% of Americans are obese, and only 12% are metabolically healthy in that research study that I shared the link for. That was off. Got to get those shoulders open to focus. Ribs in. Toes pointed. Last one. Second one was a bit better. Yeah, that's always a process of refinement. It's quite cool. So let's get into this core, 6 minutes. So it's a standing side flexion and then a hanging side flexion. So usually hang off the rings or hang off the bar for these. So if you've got that set up, that's cool. But this one's pretty nice too. So you come into the side, getting that nice stretch. Exhale into the side flexion. Breathing in and breathing out. So you get 3 each side of that. You can slow it down a little bit more and just do the 5-5-5. Actually, we'll do that. It's quite nice because it's going to help focus on that nice nasal respiration where you're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and holding out through the nose, which really makes a huge difference for having that nice filtration working, as well as exhaling through the nose and inhaling. You're going to stimulate that nitric oxide production. So if I'm doing that side first, then I do that side. I've worked the right first. So to work the right in the standing version, I'm just coming down here and then exhale, come up. So coming right down, stretch it out, and we'll do the other side. So let's go now. Breathing in, a nice stretch. Open up, exhale. Big breath in. Stretch it out. Exhale. Big breath. Not doing 3 anyway, geez. After that big spiel. So you inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Through the nose. Hold that breath out for 5. Inhale. Exhale. Hold it out. Now if you want to make that one harder, you just move your feet closer. So from here, if I want to make this harder, I have the arm up or even over like that. Inhale. 5. Exhale for 5. Tract all through there. Breathing in, get that nice stretch. Whether it's here, here. Exhale. And now, the other side. In, stretch it out. Find where you're tight. Exhale, coming up. Inhale, coming down. Stretch it out. Make sure left equals right. Same. Loading, variations, range on both sides. So get a nice stretch. If you want to make it harder, come a bit closer with your feet. Inhale. Exhale. Work those obliques, squeeze. The other side. You can make this much easier by just coming further away. So you make it that full lean. Inhale, coming down. Exhale, coming up. Hold that breath out. Lengthen up. Breathe in, coming down. Breathe out, coming up. That breath out. Inhale, coming down. Stretch it out. Exhale, coming up. Lengthen through your fingertips. That version. Hit that nice line. Now, inhale, coming down. Stretch it out. Find where you're tight. Exhale, coming up. Hold that breath out. In, coming down. One more round, guys. So you can put up more reps on those and do much higher reps. I just like the nice, slow, control version for multiple reasons. One, it's a nice stretch. And two, it just makes it easier to facilitate the tonic postural fibers if you're not moving too quick. But if it is low level enough, so the intensity is not too high, if you're doing faster movements, you'll still get that stimulus. Last one of those. Nice stretch here. Alright, and this last one. Arm up. Big breath in, coming over. Stretch out. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. That nice contraction. Relax the shoulders. In. Reach down, make it measurable. Last rep. Good stuff. I realised yesterday I had the microphone behind me when I was talking about all these links, so I'll just go through them just really quick. Really important Geez, that focus wasn't out the whole time. Really important to get into these so you know it for yourself. So I'll just do a screen share. And it takes time to read through these things, but it's definitely worth it. That's the software that I use for the restreaming. You can see the Instagram one is not ideal. So this one here, this one's about the elderly, lack of association with high LDL, and then actually the reverse. So if you've got elevated LDL, older, it actually protects you. And there's so many studies to back that up. This one here, so people that go in with infection to hospital, if they've got high LDL, they've reduced their chance of sepsis, which is pretty awesome. Good work, Kerry, keep moving. And then we've got total cholesterol risk of mortality. This is another study on just old people having high cholesterol and how it reduces mortality. This one here, ketosis, diabetes, how nutritional ketosis and low carb diets, how effective they are. There's just so much research to back this stuff up. And it's just crazy that, we're just not promoting that in this stage. So this is looking at characteristics of patients that are dying in relation to COVID-19. So this one is going through that, they have all of these comorbidities. So it wasn't just age, it's also looking at what's actually going on for them. And there's so much here. This is the ACE and the ACE2 expression within non-obese diabetic mice. So this is showing how when they have that metabolic syndrome, even though they're not obese, they still increase the ACE2 receptors. This is looking at carbohydrate and its response to insulin. Yeah, so have a look at the different links and just familiarize yourself with it, if for nothing else, just for your own sanity, just to realize that, if you get on top of your metabolic health, it's really not a lot to worry about, obviously for yourself, but then the people around you. It's hard to try and convince family members and whatever to get healthy, but I think now there's some good motivation to do it, hopefully. So have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the workout, and I'll see you soon.